Welcome back. You're listening to Get Real. I'm your host, Bob Gallagher, and joining me in studio today, I have two guests. Stacy Molinari with Insurance Marketing Agency. Welcome to the show, Stacy.
Thank you, Bob.
And we also have Jackie Cohen. She's a real estate agent with Caldwell Banker in Shrewsbury. Welcome to the show, Jackie.
Thank you.
So I invited you both here today so we could talk to the audience about everything insurance, real estate, and financing. So we can just teach everybody everything they need to know in 17 short minutes.
Perfect.
I mean, because what more does it take, right? It's pretty easy.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So why don't we start off with you, Jackie? Why don't you tell us a little bit about what the market's doing right now, how we're doing on inventory, and what you kind of see happening for the next couple of quarters or through the end of the year?
It's definitely still a seller's market. People are getting really high prices for their houses. There's a lot of buyers that are out there looking, and there's a lot of bidding wars. People are paying really high prices. There's a decent amount of stuff out there, but there's a lot of first-time home buyers who are nervous about interest rates going up, trying to get houses. There's also a lot of people who are upgrading because the interest rates are still low. And it's just listings are going really fast.
Right. So inventory. So we are seeing new inventory. It's just not sticking around very long.
Yes.
So
exactly.
It kind of looks worse than it actually is. So it's not that there's nothing coming on. It's just selling fast.
Yeah, and there actually has been more coming on the last few weeks or so. It's just that people have been waiting for a long time. So you have people that have been outbid multiple times, and they're going and they're bidding a lot over asking. So it's been pretty competitive.
Yeah. So how do you prep your buyers for the market that we're dealing with today, the realities of today's market?
I ask them how badly they really want the house.
That's actually a really good question.
We ask the agent, are there multiple offers in? And I say to the buyers, how bad do you want the house? Because you might have to go over asking. I ask them to think about what they're comfortable paying, because sometimes they can get pre-approved for a little bit higher than they're comfortable paying. So I'll ask them that. And then we try and remove any contingencies and go in with a strong offer.
Right. And are you finding that, because what areas do you serve actually? Worcester and surrounding areas?
Yeah, all around Central Mass.
So are you seeing things as crazy out here as some people are saying, as you get closer to Boston, you're seeing 8, 10, 12, 20 offers on properties?
Not as crazy. It is, the closer you get to Boston, the more expensive it gets. But still around, Northborough, Grafton, Shrewsbury, all those areas, even Worcester, certain parts of Worcester, people are getting a lot more than what they paid for just a few years ago.
Right. And multiple offers?
Multiple offers, yeah. Right.
So bidding wars are becoming sort of the norm these days?
Yes. If it's a house that you can walk into and it's move-in ready, turnkey, and it's priced competitively, there's going to be bidding wars.
So basically everybody wants the turnkey house now.
Yes. Everybody wants the turnkey house.
Oh, that makes it fun. So if you're looking for a fixer-upper, it might not be so hard.
No, it's not as bad if you're looking for a fixer-upper. If you're looking to do a little bit of work, it's not as bad. If there's foreclosures and stuff, there's a lot of investors out there looking to flip them. But that's probably where you're going to get the best value, is houses that need some work.
Are you seeing a lot of flip houses in the Worcester market?
Not as much as I was before.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that many, but maybe a year or two ago there was.
Yeah, it seems like most of the foreclosure inventory has kind of been snapped up and resold.
Yeah.
And talking about short sales and foreclosures, do you really see an advantage to buying those properties anymore? They're not really selling at a discount, are they?
I've had somebody buy a short sale and they ended up having to wait 9 months or so, but But they had the price from 9 months ago,
oh, that's a good
which
point.
was a lot lower than the price was right now. So, they bought a house for $175 and they could turn around and sell it for $225 right now.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah.
$50,000 in equity on waiting for 9 months?
Yeah, if you have somewhere, because the market's gone so high, the prices have gone up so fast. But so if you have somewhere to stay and you're able to wait it out, it's probably worth it.
So unlike the three of us, if you're willing to move in with your parents or your in-laws, then it's worth it. Yeah. Although everybody listening is like, I'm not moving in with my in-laws either. What are you thinking?
Do it. It's a good choice.
Yeah, we do actually see it happening. And even now we're seeing it happen, on the financing side, with people that want to save bigger down payments because they feel they'd be more competitive with a bigger down payment. They're moving in with relatives and just sucking all the money away.
Right, because even rentals are really high, and most of the time you have to sign at least a 1-year lease.
Right.
So, yeah.
And rentals are no bargain. I mean, we were talking before we got started today. I mean, you're looking at an easy $1,500 a month, depending on where you're looking. And obviously, if you're listening in Boston right now, $1,500 a month seems like a giveaway. But when you're looking in Worcester for a property that 2 years ago you probably would have paid $900 for, $1,500 doesn't seem like it's such a great deal.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that we've got that new luxury building coming online, and then I think next year, over off of it's in downtown Worcester somewhere. I read it in Banker and Tradesman.
Oh, and it's going to be the one that's going to be condos?
Yeah, I think it's part condos, part rentals, and they had it on Banker and Tradesman, or maybe it was Worcester Business Journal. $1,600 a month for a studio apartment, 600 square feet.
Wow.
They're doing a lot of renovations downtown, though.
Yeah.
So.
Well, Worcester's becoming a city in its own right. I mean, there's all sorts of new restaurants and entertainment venues. It's pretty nice, and I love what they're doing around City Hall with the Front Street renovation and everything there.
Yeah, I just moved to Worcester. It's a great place.
Yeah. Oh, I love Worcester. That's where I live, outside of the city, but we go to Worcester for everything.
Yeah.
Because I'll be damned if I'm driving into Boston.
Oh, yeah. Oh, the food choices are so much better. We went from Grafton to Worcester, and we have so many restaurants to choose from now.
Yeah, and it seems like they're adding more every day. It's really impressive.
Absolutely.
Even downtown, they're talking about all the new restaurants that are scheduled to open over the course of the next year. So it's exciting.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah, of course, having little kids makes it tough to actually try out those restaurants. But
That's
someday I'm going to get there.
Takeout's good.
Yeah,
Takeout. Yeah, we're living on takeout right now.
Yeah.
So why don't we talk a little bit about renting versus buying? Because there's a lot of people out there that have been renting for a long time, and it's tough to save money and pay rent these days. If you're going to come up with a down payment. So what do you normally recommend to your clients that are saying, I want to spend $1,500, $1,800 a month on an apartment?
I always tell people that it's better to buy than to rent because you're going to build equity if you buy something. If you rent, you don't. And a lot of times people say that they don't have money for a down payment, but most rentals you have to pay first, last, and security anyway.
Yeah.
So even if you're looking at a place that's $1,200 a month, you're still coming up with $3,600 up front.
Yeah.
So I always tell people to talk to a lender and just see what you can do.
Right.
It's worth a shot.
Right, because on a $200,000 purchase, if you do it on an FHA, you're not looking at more than $6,000 or $7,000 for a down payment. I mean, that's only a few $1,000s more.
Right, and you can, get a loan from someone else,
Yeah,
a
you can
friend,
get a gift
family,
from,
gift, something.
gift from relatives.
Yeah.
Tax refunds are a big thing.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways to do it. And renting, while it makes sense for some people, if you're not planning on sticking in the area long term, or if you plan on getting out in, what would you say, 2-3 years?
Yeah.
Probably not a great idea to buy. Although, looking at the way prices are appreciating these days.
Right. If you bought something 3 years ago and you're selling it now, you're in good shape.
Yeah, you might still be okay even after a year and a half with the way things have been.
And sometimes people, it's families coming to rent. They've been relocated or moved here and they want to rent till they figure out exactly what town they want to look in for a year or so. But I definitely think it's your best bet to buy.
Absolutely. So why don't we talk about the whole buying process? Okay. So where does it typically start? Like you wake up one morning and you decide today's the day. We're actually going to start the process. We're going to buy a house. What's the first thing people do?
Well, the first thing I recommend is that you talk to lender and figure out what you can pay for, because a lot of times people get carried away just looking at stuff online.
Yes.
And then they want to go see something, but if you're not pre-approved, then you don't really have a chance because you have to be pre-qualified in order to put in an offer.
Right.
Everybody wants pre-qualifications or pre-approvals with offers right now.
Because they want to know that you're serious. They don't want to see if you're guessing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're not going to take it off the market just in case you could possibly buy the house.
Yes. Yeah, especially in today's market.
Yes.
Yeah. They don't know you
absolutely.
can buy it. You're not getting your offer accepted.
Absolutely.
So that's a good first step. So finding out what you qualify for. And one of the reasons I tell people usually by the time they're getting to me, they're already on that path. But the last thing you want to do is get somebody all excited about a house for $400,000 or $500,000, and they find out their budget's really $300,000. everything they look at it for $300,000 is going to seem like crap compared to what they thought they were going to get.
Absolutely, and it happens sometimes too. And sometimes it actually happens that they have to fall in love with a house, miss out on it before they realize that I need to be ready. I need to have my down payment ready. I need to have a pre-approval ready, and a timeline.
Right, because it's not like it was 4 or 5 years ago.
Right.
There were tons of properties for sale. You had your pick of them,
Yeah.
and then you could hammer the seller down on the price. Now it's totally the other way.
Exactly.
You love the house, so do 12 other people, and they're all making offers too.
Yeah, and they're qualified.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. It used to be that you could, like a house, put in an offer, pre-approval was coming within the next 24 to 48 hours, and it was no big deal. But now, not the case.
Not anymore.
Got to be ready.
I remember when they were saying we had, I think it was 2 or 2.5 years worth of inventory in the market, and that's probably going back 2009, 10ish. And I remember they said it's going to take 20 plus years to work through this. We'll probably never get through it.
Wow.
And then all of a sudden 2014 hits and everybody decides the same year they're buying. And here we are. Now we have 3 months maybe of inventory, which is not even close to being in balance.
Right.
Which is why it's a seller's market.
Absolutely.
All right, so you've gone through the process. You've actually gotten your pre-approval. You know how much you qualify for. What's the next step?
You start looking. You set up a search online. We do it through the multiple listing service, and you start getting notifications about houses. And we go out there and start looking, and then put in an offer, go to home inspection, appraisal, and then it's yours.
Yeah. Takes a little bit. Takes 30, 45. Well, we usually tell people from the time you find the house to the time you close on it, about 45 days.
Yes.
Because you got about a week and a half with the home inspection. Then you got to hammer out purchase and sales, wait for appraisal and financing to come through. But all told, it's about 45 days.
Yeah. I always, when people are putting in offers, I tell them it has to be at least 45 days unless your lender specifically says it can be less than 45 days, but that's usually the minimum.
Yeah. Yeah, unless you can get a home inspection done quicker, then sometimes we can get it done quicker.
Yeah.
It all depends. It all depends on the deal. So now let's kind of flip over to the other side of it. Well, actually, you know what? Before we move on to the selling part, we should probably talk about insurance because we on the lending side start asking the clients to get insurance, pretty much day one. Mm-hmm. Most of them tend to put it off until day before the closing.
Yes. Yeah.
No matter how many times we have. Although we are seeing people get better. I've noticed instead of asking once a week, now we ask like once a day until we get it. And that usually speeds it up by a couple of weeks.
I usually ask in the beginning too. I'm like, did you factor in that you're going to have to pay insurance? Because they don't always.
Yeah.
And it's so funny that we're the forgotten piece because it's one of the biggest investments you're ever going to make, right?
It's
and no one
important.
thinks about protecting that.
$300,000. Who needs insurance on that? But that stereo I bought at Best Buy, that I'm going to insure.
Right, right. That's
Before
exactly.
I leave the store.
Yes, yeah.
I'll buy the protection.
Yeah.
But that's a great point. It's very funny how people, it's an afterthought, and you get so caught up with the excitement, and things get really stressful as you get closer to the closing date. Mm-hmm. I usually tell people, once you get through the home inspection and you're comfortable with the sale, everything looks like it's going to move forward, give us a call, because day before binders, mortgage brokers don't like it, closing attorneys don't like it. Mm-hmm. And we usually try as much as we can to get the binder to the mortgage broker 2 weeks in advance. So if you have a 45 days, if the earlier you contact us to get those quotes ready for you, the better position we're all in.
And what do you need? Do you need the copy of the appraisal?
We don't necessarily need a copy of the appraisal, no.
So you just need people to call you and do the application with you?
Need people to call me, give me some information on the house. Public record is amazing these days. You can find out everything. So we really can do things, make it very easy for people as long as they make that call.
Plus, it's one less thing to worry about, so you're not stressing about it as it gets closer.
And we can take it off their plate. Like the second they say, okay, yes, this is the policy I want, this is the carrier I want, everything makes sense for them in terms of coverage.
Right.
I can tell them I'll have the binder to your mortgage broker within an hour. It's that easy to get it, and then you have a happy mortgage broker because they need that to get the clear to close.
Well, that's the thing. We want the clear to close, so the buyers don't have to think about the loan anymore. They just dealing with the whole move and scheduling everything.
Yeah. And I get a lot of calls from people like, I need to get this done right now because if I don't have it done before noontime today, and they're calling me at 11:30, if I don't have it all done before noontime today, I'm not going to get the clear to close, and I'm not going to be able to close on the date that I had in mind. And, you feel terrible for people because you plan a lot on that moving day.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why I just tell everybody now at application, here's my insurance agent's contact. Just call her now, and it'll save you a lot of trouble and hassle.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So why don't we switch now to the seller? Actually, before I do that, I want to give out your contact info, Jackie. Jackie is a real estate agent with Caldwell Banker in Shrewsbury, and you cover all the surrounding areas, correct?
Yes.
And the best way to get a hold of Jackie is give her a call on the cell, 508-633-7658. Again, it's 508-633-7658. We've only got a few minutes left. Why don't we talk a little bit about how you prep your sellers?
Okay. So the best thing for prepping sellers is to let them know that they need to declutter and depersonalize.
So even though it's a seller's market, you don't want to be displaying all of your tchotchkes from the last 40 years in the house, right?
No, and you don't want people to walk in and see all the family pictures and stuff because then they start looking at who lives here and thinking about that rather than picturing themselves there. So curb appeal is huge too. Everybody drives by houses before they even go and set up a showing. I recommend for buyers that they take a drive by to make sure they like the area, the neighborhood, the outside of the house, and the yard. So prettying that up a little bit goes a long way. And then first impression too. When you first walk through the door, you want it to be neutral, nice, smell nice,
which Stacy had an interesting story on.
Oh, gosh. This is so embarrassing. And I actually think telling you guys before the show was the first time I've ever shared this story.
But it's been years now.
It's been years.
Okay.
It's actually been 10 years and I'm still a little.
Yeah.
We were listing our house. We had outgrown it. I had 3 little kids. They were 2 and my youngest was about 6 months. So on our way out the door with the 3 kids and the dog, one of them clearly went to the bathroom, had to go to the bathroom. So what do? You have to change the diaper.
Of course.
I had cleaned everything up, right? Even took the diaper with me and bolted out the door because the people were supposed to arrive any minute. And the feedback I got from the showing, I was so horrified, was that the house smelled like poop. So that is my embarrassing story.
But they probably saw all the baby toys and everything else.
Yeah, those people, they couldn't have had children.
They couldn't have, because anybody that has kids would not have complained about it.
Yeah, I mean, kids poop can clear out a room. So
yes, they can.
And apparently my child's did. So
yours cleared out the whole house.
I'm not sure what he ate that day, but
so that's just one little mistake to avoid. Change the kid outside, evidently.
Yes, I should have waited to do it in the car.
Backyard,
car,
anywhere.
anywhere.
What you got to do, not in the house. No more pooping in the house.
That is
when
not
you're
allowed.
getting ready to list.
You have to wait till after the showing to go to the bathroom.
Yes.
I can't believe you didn't know that.
Well, that was great. So I want to thank you both for coming on the show today. It was great having you. And I'm just going to give your contact info out one more time, Jackie. It's Jackie Cohen and I've misplaced your business card somehow. Here it is. Caldwell Banker in Shrewsbury. You cover all the surrounding areas. Cell phone's the best way to get a hold of you. 508-633-7658. Again, it's 508-633-7658. Thank you both for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be back with more Get Real after this.